Hello everybody! Today I'm gonna show you how to bake pan de muerto, or in English, bread of the dead. Pan de muerto is a traditional and delicious bread that is just made for Dia de Muertos. It is my favorite bread of all the variety we have in Mexico. Dia de Muertos, or in English, Day of the Dead, is the Mexican tradition where the dead people come back to the earth. We celebrate and honor them the 2nd of November. Pan de muerto is a delicious bread that tastes a little bit like orange and butter. The bread has many meanings. First of all, the round shape represents the circle of life. The cross lines are bones and also represent the 4 cardinal points. The center is a skull, and the smell the everlasting presence of the departed people. Now that we know a little bit more about pan de muerto, let's start baking. This recipe is going to be divided in 3 parts. For the first part, we're gonna need 150 grams of flour, 175 milliliters of milk, and 10 grams of baking powder. For the second part, 2 eggs, 2 yolks, 350 grams of flour, 5 grams of salt, 95 grams of sugar, 100 grams of butter, acer water, and orange. For the third part, 150 grams of sugar, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 50 grams of butter. For the first part, we will use 1 bowl. We're gonna start adding the flour and baking powder. We're gonna mix it to incorporate all the ingredients and then start adding the milk little by little. Mix until you get a homogeneous mixture. Cover with adherent plastic and let it rest for approximately 1 hour. It needs to duplicate its size. For the second part, we're gonna use another bowl. Add the salt, sugar, and flour. Mix it and make a hole right in the middle, making the shape of a volcano crater. Add the eggs, yolks, and butter inside the hole and start mixing with a spatula. After you have incorporated a little bit the ingredients, start mixing it with your hands. It will get softer texture. We are gonna use the acer water. Measure 1 teaspoon and add it to the mixture. Continue working it until you can incorporate all the liquid. Flour the work table. Take the dough out of the bowl and continue working it until it takes a smooth texture. It will take a little too long, but the result will be delicious. Take it back to the bowl to add the zest of orange and incorporate everything. Now that the mixture from part 1 has duplicated its size, punch it with your fingers. Expand the dough from part 2 and pour all of the dough from part 1. Start mixing it like in the previous steps. Flour the work table to prevent the dough from getting stuck. Continue working it until you incorporate everything. It needs to have a smooth and elastic consistency just like this one, and it doesn't have to stick to the table. Place it inside a big bowl. Cover it with adherent plastic and let it rest for about 2 to 3 hours. Now that the dough has grown, we're gonna punch it with our fingers. Take it out of the bowl and knead it. Once you have worked the dough, we're gonna make a sphere and start dividing it into 9 or 10 pieces. It depends on how big you want to make your bread. Take 1 portion, knead it, and separate a quarter. Make a nice sphere with the big portion and reserve it. Take the quarter part we just divided and roll it. Take a very small part because this is going to be used for the top of our bread. To make the bones, divide into the rest of the dough. Use 3 fingers to roll it up and down and start opening a little your fingers to make the shape. They don't have to be perfect. Moisten the brush with little water and glaze the big bun. Gently take one of the bones and place it. The second one goes in the opposite direction. Glaze the center between the 2 bones and place the sphere by making a little pressure. For the baking trays, we're gonna use some butter and flour. We're gonna cover the tray with some butter. We're gonna add the flour and expand it until it covers all the surface. Place all the pieces of pan de muerto in the baking trays. We're gonna wait until they duplicate its size for approximately 1 or 2 hours. Preheat the oven at 170 degrees Celsius. Introduce the baking trays and bake for about 15 to 20 minutes. They need to get a little bit golden. Once they are ready, take them out of the oven and let them cool for 30 minutes. Take one pan de muerto, varnish it with butter with the help of a brush, and sprinkle enough sugar to cover all the surface. Repeat the process with all the pieces of bread. And now we have delicious and beautiful panes de muerto.